You are listening to TechVibe Pittsburgh, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsting, where I've been telling the stories of Pittsburgh's tech sector for nearly 30 years now. Very excited about today's discussion with ECI because they are in hiring mode. In fact, they have a really awesome hiring event happening on May the 15th. For today's episode, I'm welcoming Loren, Sjoquist, who's the Chief Revenue Officer of ECI, and he's going to highlight the company's ongoing massive hiring efforts as they expand their workforce by nearly 100 positions. Yes, 100 positions. That's a lot of hiring. In case you don't know, ECI is a specialized automation control company, and they are a distinguished partner of Emerson Electric, providing vital industrial control systems and solutions. The company boasts a unique employee-owned model, a strong culture of collaboration, and extensive career development opportunities, making it the place for anyone seeking for a job right now. So you got to keep on listening as Loren tells us more about ECI's available roles, the attributes they seek in candidates, and their commitment to employee wellness and professional growth. It's an exciting story, and at the Tech Council, we are stoked for what's happening at ECI. Let's welcome Loren to the conversation right now. We have the best discussions with our member companies. Members, they're always doing great stuff. And for us to talk about what they're doing is just fantastic. I'm really excited today to learn more about what ECI is up to. In fact, you guys are in like a massive hiring mode.
We are.
And we're diving deep on that today.
Let's do it. That's why we're here. Jonathan, it's great to be here. Looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. So first and foremost, you got to tell listeners about ECI. Like, what's the elevator pitch for ECI and what you guys do? Because I think you're one of these companies, you do some really cool, important stuff, but not everybody knows about you,
No
right?
doubt.
Yeah. So tell me
kind of
about
behind the scenes unsung hero of providing everyday quality of life that we all get to benefit from. So yeah, automation and control company. And so we're based out of Pittsburgh. We're just down south in Lawrence.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? We're a distinguished partner of Emerson. So Emerson Electric manufactures some of the world's best industrial control systems, control valves, regulators, all those things that you may have not heard of, but they're essential to making industry work.
They make the world work.
Absolutely.
I mean, so many times we take it for granted that our water turns on and the electricity comes on. There's a lot of equipment and engineering and technical prowess, and Emerson provides tons of that.
Yeah. And now, while Emerson is focused on manufacturing the best products, ECI is focused on bringing those products to market.
Perfect.
And so we uniquely fill the void between customers and by applying solutions and thinking first of what automation may exist. Right? Just like you might enjoy going into a Best Buy and having someone advise you on the best speaker system in your home. Not everyone can be experts in all things. And we specialize in bringing industrial automation to market. And uniquely, we're a privately held company. And so for employees looking for opportunities, I like to say we represent the best of both worlds. We're a small 300 employee company here, very focused on customers. We exist in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. So we're a bit of a finite 3-state territory, but we're very deeply with a lot of major power manufacturers, chemical plants, food and beverage. Again, an unsung hero of those things that you may not understand how they work or operate, but we're the ones that are making them safe, reliable, manage emissions, monitor energy management, everything else.
That sounds like a great place to work because your efforts are going towards something that's really a huge part of modern society, for lack of a better term. Like every time you do something, it's going to allow us to live the lives the way we do.
I like to say enabling the human experience.
There you go. Exactly right. Okay, that's where I was heading on that.
Yep.
I was suspicious. Interesting. And you're relatively new to the company. How long have you been there for?
I am, 7 months.
Oh my goodness.
So I joined in August of last year.
Excellent.
And I actually came up through Emerson. And so I got to experience the big global publicly traded company and environment. And for me, this has been a wonderful shift towards a new part of the country, which I never anticipated I'd move to, but my wife and our kids are very happy to be in Pittsburgh.
Love
We've been here
that.
since January.
Okay.
And so moving with 2 small kids is quite the adventure. But we're here, we're getting out, and we're really loving it and excited for springtime.
We are stoked that you're here. And I think you're the perfect person to talk to about what it's like to be there, because as you're looking for new talent, you can really talk about what interested you in this. I talk to so many folks, and I'm always interested about what makes them tick and why they do what they do, because I talk to the smartest people out there. I'm like, you can work any place in the world you want to, but you're choosing to do this. What is it about the opportunity that you're like, I got to be a part of this?
Yeah. Look, good culture.
Yeah.
Interesting problems to solve.
Okay.
And having a trusted relationship with very distinguished end users. And
Of
so
course.
for me, I'm motivated by having complex things that aren't don't have available solutions to them. In my role, I'm Chief Revenue Officer of this company, so I get to think about a lot of things.
Oh my.
How we serve customers.
Exactly.
How we position ourselves in our own portfolio through acquisitions or in-house development, but also organizing ourselves to making sure that we're focused on where our industries are going that we support to make sure that we put appropriate investments towards it. So what draws me to this, though, is in getting to know ECI in an interview process is it is a very unique and differentiated culture, right? You get a lot of people that care deeply about what they do. We're an employee-owned company, which brings about a dimension of ownership.
That is so cool. You don't see that very often as well. The idea that like you work there, you become an owner of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a very, I would say, differentiated profit sharing program that comes with that, which again, as people stay, and we do have a wonderful retention rate. We've got over 20 employees that have been with ECI for over 25 years.
Wow.
And our average tenure, despite a frenzy of new hires, is almost 8 years.
That's amazing in this day and age. I think about people, it seems like every 2 years they're jumping to a new gig. And when I hear that type of number, I'm like, wow, that's some dedicated folks. Once again, these are folks that could be working any place they want to, but they're staying and working with ECI.
And not only are they staying, they're engaged.
And they're engaged, right?
That's one thing that I observed in the big publicly traded world is there's an incredible amount of disengagement that comes from people that don't feel connected to that purpose that we're talking about. But again, here, our customers are our neighbors.
Yeah.
And especially with our field sales force, where they're dispersed across our territory, and we do have 7 office locations around our territory, but we care deeply about the success of our customers and vice versa. So there's a different dimension of ownership that you see from our employees.
Sounds very cool. So before we jump into the different types of candidates that you're trying to hire, what's driving the growth there right now that you need so many people?
Yeah, it's threefold. Look, Pittsburgh, I'm a big fan of the Great Lakes in general, right? Because I think that the long history of industrial manufacturing is absolutely becoming even more relevant today, despite the fact that it's been there throughout the entire history of our country. But the future, when you look at the incredible demand on the power grid from things like artificial intelligence and growing investments of data centers, you look at new life science programs and pharmaceuticals, there's a growing investment bed that's happening here in Pittsburgh that I know you're very well tuned
100%.
into.
Oh, yeah.
But also, so our core customers in core energy, right? We do a ton of work with gas production, gas distribution, making sure, again, it's done safely, responsibly. We focus very much on emissions control. So all those are really going in a positive direction. Good investments from the regulation level, good private investment that's funding it, good macro trends backing it up. But there's another step to it, which is operators, big industrial operators thinking about the next generation of automation. They're facing their own hiring crises, right? There's a lot of pending experienced retirements that are happening, again, to keep pace with energy management requirements and emission requirements, thinking about the next phase of what automation looks like.
Yeah.
And if you look back at, there's a lot of plants that are still operating with 1990s, 1980s technology.
Probably goes further than that.
Absolutely. But what we're trying to do is work with those customers, and that's driving a lot of demand on us, right? Whether it's core in what we do today or creating some interesting spaces that we will, again, invest in through acquisition or through our own solutions capabilities. The net sum of those two, which is good industrial growth, but also an evolution that's putting a lot more opportunities on our plate to partner in different ways with our customers.
That is exciting. And obviously, you have the whole hiring event going on with us that we're very excited about happening on May 15th to talk about all the positions that you're looking to hire. So what are some of the key positions? Like, I can only imagine. I'm very excited to learn more about this. I always get stoked when I'm thinking about companies. They're like, we're in hiring mode right now.
Big time. Without question, our biggest headwind of opportunity is getting the right talent. And the fact that we are, I would say, a special culture, we look for the right talent. And I'll get to your question, but when we look at our 2-year growth plan, I did this math with our VP of HR just the other day. We need to hire new 100 positions, which is 25% of our current workforce.
Oh my goodness.
And that comes in addition to, obviously, you've got people that will retire. Of course, you do have people that leave voluntarily. And so we need a lot of people, and we need the right people. So we're looking at all dimensions.
That's like stunning to me when I think about trying to find that many people and to get them rowing the boat in the right direction. So you're HR person. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. When I said that as explicitly as I did to our talent acquisition teams, they have this. There's a little bit of that ambitious side of, okay, let's do this. And a part of it was just sheer terror.
You're like, Loren, what are you telling me? Start hiring.
We'll be hiring early and often. We're deep underway. So to your question,
so what kind of position?
Quite honestly, we're hiring from all levels right now.
I believe
I'll say open position, an executive VP position, looking after one of our largest business groups, which is known as our final control business.
Okay.
We've got, I would say, some director opportunities. We also have deep tracks of process engineering, sales, account management, and I can speak at length about when I talk about sales opportunities, it's a stack of there's entry level through inside sales. There's stretch assignments that includes more or less digital sales, which is a little bit more outreach than a traditional inside salesperson, all the way into account management, into key account management, into sales leadership. But then also we have a dimension of manufacturing, right? So we do a lot of valve service work. We actually have a skid manufacturing business. We do a lot with pressure relief valves. We do a lot with PLC, panel control, system panels. So whether it's trade labor, sales, engineering, project management, we've got a wonderful array of opportunities, each with unique tracks of professional development as well.
Good Lord. So I can see why you're so excited to be there, because there's just so much opportunity there, but there's so much work to be done. But how fun is that,
It's
right?
awesome.
Oh
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I love it. So obviously we want people to know about this and want them to go out there and check this out. What do you look for in your potential candidates?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you have to have very specific needs, and you look for a type of person with the right, I can imagine, like energy and commitment to just kicking butt. I think, for lack of a better term.
Absolutely. At the surface, obviously, there's certain skilled qualifications, right? And if it's trade labor, sometimes we're looking for the ability to pass the relevant test, whether it's a weld test.
Right. Yeah.
But beyond that, we're looking for problem solvers. We're looking at people that are inspired by having a set of challenging tasks on their hand. We love people that enjoy collaboration. We're a very collaborative company in how we work together, how we assemble around customer challenges. We love ambitious people. We put a lot into our benefits program, which I'm sure we'll be able to talk about.
I would love to hear more about that for sure. We'll get to that.
But also, it's motivating to me. And I always say a company that has people in motion is a healthy company.
Exactly.
And even just last week, I got to send out a wonderful announcement that celebrated multiple new sales directors, a lot of different promotions. We have wonderful stories of people advancing their career from, again, inside sales all the way up to director and VP and beyond roles. But we're also looking at those people that want to lean into that opportunity. And look, that's not always becoming the CEO. There's deep track opportunities as well, right?
It seems, there's lots of, I guess what's so interesting is there's so much room to expand. And no matter where you are, there's places you can go, continue to grow, continue to challenge yourself, help the company grow. And what's great is you help the company grow. You're an owner of that company. That's the magic of it. I love that.
And it just makes my day when you get to spend some time with a 30, even 40-year seasoned veteran that has invested their entire career in their craft. And if it's that process control and they know every inch about that, I mean, customers, that's why I say customers celebrate it, because people like that are absolutely of no equal into our customers. And I take great pride in the fact that they exist in our company. Yeah. We all benefit from that as a community.
I love it. So we're going to have links to the event so people can learn more about the details so they can check it out and make sure that they can connect and everything like that. So we want everyone to be checking this out, because it seems like there's something for anyone out there that's got a skill set. It's sales, it's engineering, it's a little bit of everything going on, which is just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And not that far out of Pittsburgh either. Like, this isn't like some crazy far drive or anything.
It was a 25-minute drive outdoor to get down here, and we're on the north side here by the stadiums. And I'll say too, Jonathan, is we have a very robust engineering rotation program, which is perfect for entry-level new grads. Look, I studied aerospace engineering, and I still use the term today. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I have a little bit more of an idea now than I did 15 years ago.
Awesome.
But we put that in place because you know that, right? In mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electrical, innately broad degrees, but until you actually get exposure to that field and understand what type of problems you're solving, it's hard to form that opinion. So we wanted to give that opportunity. And it's been a wildly successful program. Of the 13 people we put through that, only one has left, and they left for a very good reason. They actually went to Emerson. Okay. And we've just...
That's okay. They're allowed to do that.
They're allowed to do that. We like to say that go back and forth, and I'm an example of that.
Totally. Yeah, you're going back and forth,
We're putting a similar program in around our inside sales teams. It's people that are more interested in the sales side, yet still an engineering background. A great opportunity to get a rotation. They could even relocate to different parts of our territory to
talk about keeping it fun, keeping it fresh, and keeping yourself not in the same track all the time. So that sounds like a great reason to be checking all this out as far as that goes. That's amazing. So I'm curious about the hiring process. I'm assuming, obviously, you need to hire quickly, I assume, but you also hire smartly as well, too, because you're not just going to just take every random person that comes in because you need people. Tell me what the hiring process is like. What could I expect if I were there and I see a position that I'm interested in, I have the qualifications, I give you my resume? What can I expect from an experience like interviewing, and how long would it turn around before I would know whether I'm ECI material or not?
Yeah. So first off, check out our website, ECI.us. And we have our careers page on there, which is up to date. all down to the date. Anything posted there is what we're looking for.
Okay.
We'll get you through the process through application. We do a team-based interview process.
I like
we
that.
have all of our applicants fill out what's called a predictive index assessment.
Very cool.
Are you familiar with that?
I am very familiar with that. Yes.
It's amazing.
We used to do that at the Tech Council, and good Lord, they didn't do that to me back in 1997 because they probably wouldn't have hired me, but it's okay.
It'll expose a side of you that's very interesting too. And that, again, we're thinking of cohesiveness of teams. We're thinking about culture
where the fit goes.
It also gives us a wonderful opportunity to look at what we believe to be capabilities and the way people think in their natural state towards whatever job and qualifications. Now, look, we're not hiring based on a profile, but it does fuel the right conversation.
No, it gets the conversation going, because I bet you a lot of times you probably looking at people, they might have certain skills on their resume, but as you get to know them, like, you could actually fill this other position just as well. Because sometimes people get really screwed down on, we're only hiring for this thing, and you have to have these 3 things on your resume, or we're not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're just keeping the door too closed on opportunity, because so many things can be easily taught to people who just have the aptitude. And you can find that aptitude through the predictive index.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of engagement. I think that an engaged, motivated employee is better than, I don't know care how many 10 disengaged employees, because if they're living it and they believe in what they're doing on a daily basis. And I believe in 3 core things to that. One is you have to be motivated by the role.
Okay.
2, you have to be trained on the qualifications of that.
Of course.
And 3, you got to be empowered to make decisions, to be autonomous in whatever that might look like. And if you check all those 3 buckets in whatever role it might be, and building off what you said, which is it's our responsibility to make sure that people find that right fit, provide the training programs for them, making sure that onboarding is not just a seamless transition to whatever they had been doing before, but making it a robust thing that they can really feel the advantages of being a part of ECI, understanding the expectations of the role, and understanding resources made available to them.
Yeah.
And to your point exactly, I can think of, we had a position 3 months ago. We had a wonderfully qualified second candidate that missed based on an extraordinarily qualified candidate, but we kept warm on that person. And actually they're interviewing for a role that I think is even a better fit for them now.
Very cool.
And I'll say we do take our time. We do take our time because culture is very important.
Yeah. Because I know there's a weird balance between making sure you can fill a position as quickly so you can keep moving forward, but also if it's not the right fit, that can set you back even more. Yeah. Some people aren't going to flash hire you on the scene as far as that goes.
And there's certain positions that are a little bit more niche, obviously entry level. Sometimes there's a wider range of the type of talent. You're looking more for general motivations, general style. And there's been times where we'll interview 10, 12, 15 candidates. We'll just find that we didn't quite find that right fit. And so that does happen. But then on the other hand, if we find the right candidate, we can move very quickly. And that's part of the advantage of us being a small and nimble company.
You can be nimble. So if it takes a long time, okay, but if you know it can fit immediately, you can crack on it. Absolutely. That's great. I love it. That sounds fantastic. And we mentioned before, you talked about pretty proud about the benefits that you guys offer. What's out there when you are hired? I'm assuming, the basics are there, but run through it, what you get as an ECI employee.
Yeah. So first off, we are an employee-owned company, which is easy for people to gloss over, but that's a big deal.
It is.
And for me, that have worked in a number of different entity associations, and I was a part of a Blackstone divestiture, this is a very unique environment. And so being employee-owned does drive just a wonderful amount of accountability. But look, who we are, we're safety, we're focused on the development of people, we're focused on wellness programs. So all of our offices have either a very nice gym, we actually offer employee time on the clock to go work out, or if you don't have a gym, we'll pay for a membership. And so we're big fans of promoting wellness.
Now. Any part-time podcast host?
I would say core benefits were very competitive in terms of 401k matching. The profit sharing program is very intriguing. So as the company does well.
You do well.
It's employee owned. We have our own employee stock ownership program, and investing in that through time, through participation, does really help move the needle on long-term retirement in a way that you don't have to contribute more than this is your job. You're bringing value on a daily basis.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's really fun.
That's why I think it's such a unique place to work, because just that option alone makes it so much different than anything else that you're going to find out there like that.
Absolutely. And then I'll just say, from a career development, we absolutely practice what we preach, right? We've got wonderfully defined career ladders, so you don't need to be lost or confused as to where you might fall.
You can always know where you can see where the next step would go and everything like that.
Every month we're celebrating a handful of employees that took the next step of promotion, whether it's into a management position or just going from, say, level 2 to level 3 engineer. But we're serious about that. So we invest big time in tuition reimbursement programs.
Excellent. Continuing education is always such a big thing.
It is.
Without a doubt.
And I benefited from it. I got my MBA when I was in my late 20s, and it really changed the course of my career. And again, for the person that has that right ambition, that's doing a good job, that's showing us that they have the potential to continue to grow, we are absolutely creating the stretch assignments to make them appropriately uncomfortable, make sure that they're learning.
Exactly.
But backing it up with wonderful support, appropriate autonomy, but also investment in secondary education.
What about hybrid working and things like that? How do you have people working everyone comes into the office, some people work remote. How do you guys handle your office these days?
Yeah, I would say we're flexible. We do have a lot of groups that spend a few days a week remote. We do have some employees that are 100% remote.
Okay.
So it does depend on the type of role. The fact that we do have hands-on manufacturing, there's certain roles that
can't do that from home. Yeah, I tried. It doesn't work that well. Yeah.
You might have a wonderful workbench and you can do some welding on your hobby projects, but when we're designing high-pressure skids for our customers, you gotta be there.
You gotta want to be there.
But I'll say, and this is from my personal experience, it's a culture you want to be there for.
That's what I love hearing, because that's what I love saying about the Tech Council here is we have a flexible work environment. I like coming into work, but I also like the flexibility that if I need to work from home a day for something, I can do it.
Yeah.
So
it's energizing.
Yeah.
And I was in Asia when COVID hit, and I got so burnt out of working from home. Again, me personally, because I just longed for the energy that comes. I longed for someone opening my door, and I wouldn't say wasting a half hour, but just those conversations. Exactly. It's amazing the things that will come out when you're just in there and in your natural environment of just having a conversation.
It's where the best ideas come, when you're collaborating with people in real time. Simple as that, face to face. It sounds like it's an amazing place. It's just like a hidden secret to me.
Yeah.
And I'm really stoked that you guys are hanging out with the Tech Council to help us reach out and get some folks help fill these positions so you guys can continue to grow and innovate and just do more. And we're very excited about this.
Yeah. We feel very privileged to have this conversation because we really believe in what you guys are doing, pulling a lot of thought leaders from a diverse slate of industry that really makes up the fabric of Pittsburgh. And we're proud of the pieces that we've brought to the table. But as we've been talking about, we are bursting at the seams.
I love it.
We don't want to be that hidden gem down south anymore.
We're going to help.
You might see a red ECI truck driving around. Next time you see it, you're going to say, hey, I listen to this podcast.
I like it.
I'm going to follow that service truck until I find a job.
Loren, you're the best, man. I love it. Sounds like so much fun. You have me really fired up. These are the conversations I just love having, because it just goes to show you there's so much magic happening here in the Pittsburgh region. Hidden secrets, we try to bring them out so people can know. Once again, if you're really interested in what's going on with ECI, go to the website on the careers page. You can see what they are hiring for. And best of all, on May 15th, we've got this event where you can be on site and really get a taste of what it's like and really just be there up front. It's like one-on-one and begin that process, maybe getting a new career at ECI. I think it sounds pretty cool.
Or biased. So I'll take a quote from LeVar Burton.
Okay.
Don't take our word for it, right? This podcast, hopefully you're sharing in my enthusiasm. And Jonathan, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But come to the event, May 15th. You're going to meet with top leadership there. We're going to have people of all trades and all years of servitude within ECI. And so I'll say with confidence, the best part of ECI are the people.
I believe it.
Problem solvers, they're accountable. They really take seriously what they do. And it's contagious, and it's something that you do have to feel. You walk in, it's one thing to hear it. It's not a thing to experience it.
That's why I love it. We can give people a front row seat to it and actually be there and see what it's like. Hopefully get them fired and be like, yeah, I want to work here.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love getting the word out on great things like this. So much fun, Loren. I've learned so much.
It's been a pleasure, Jonathan.
I do believe there's that part-time podcast host thing, so I'll talk about that later.
This was wonderful. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks so much. Once again, Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council and TechVibe Radio.